with those few remarks, I support. Thank you very much.
The Honorable Kimani Kuria, member for Molo.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to add my voice on the Business Laws Amendment Bill of the year 2021. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, this bill seeks to address the issues of ease of doing business. The report on ease of doing business released last year showed Kenya to be number 120 out of 190. That is dismal performance, considering that we pride ourselves in one of being the best countries in Africa in terms of ease of doing business. In our imaginations, Mr. Speaker. Research has shown that entrepreneurs in low-income countries spend 50% of their per capita income to just launch a company and get it running, compared to 4.2% in developed countries. So what does that mean? That a company that is opening up in Kenya will spend 50% of its per capita of its per capita income compared to 4.2% for a company offering similar service in UK. Mr. Speaker, no wonder that despite Kenya signing very many trade agreements with various countries in the world, we still have a deficit balance of trade. Because with that disadvantage, when that company is kicking off, it means no matter how much we try to take advantage of these free trade agreements or those trade agreements, then we don't get anywhere because we are at 50% expenses when they are at 4.2%. So does this bill, Mr. Speaker, treat this disease of expensiveness and difficulty or easiness of doing business? So I ask myself, what are these parameters that measures the ease of doing business? And Mr. Speaker, these parameters include and are not limited to when you're starting a business, doing business registration, what procedures do you follow? How much time do you spend? How much does it cost you to do that? When you need to do a construction, how easy is it to get those construction permits? What is the ease of accessing electricity? And I dare say, Mr. Speaker, Kenya is one of the few countries that has so many companies that are dealing only with electricity. We have companies like Geothermal and Kengen that are doing the generation of power, another government parastatal called Ketraco doing the transmission, another company called Kenya Power and Lighting Company doing the billing and the utilization of that power. And this has therefore made power one of the most expensive in our region, Mr. Speaker. Registering property. How easy is it to register property when you decide to buy property or lease property in that particular area, in that particular country? How easy is it to get credit? Are SMEs protected? How easy is it to pay taxes? How easy is it to trade across borders? How do you ensure that you enforce contracts? How do you solve insolvency? And how do you use ICT in your operations? So I looked at these parameters, Mr. Speaker, and I was asking myself, does these amendments, as proposed by the Honorable Leader of Majority, address those parameters? And I'll say yes, Mr. Speaker. On the issue of paying taxes, there are these statutory deductions, NHIF, NSSF, and PAYE. And as an accountant, I'll tell you, sometimes it's quite a pain at the end of the month, because there are some that lapse, I think, on the 5th day, others are supposed to be paid on the 9th, others are supposed to be paid by the 11th day. And therefore, the regularization of one date for the payment of these levies is a great way to ensuring easiness in terms of paying our taxes. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about stamp duty on contracts. I think the only time Kenyans think about stamps is when we are sending success cards to our KCP and KCSE candidates. Only to imagine in 2021, we still have stamp duties that are used to impose contracts, Mr. Speaker. So the removal of stamp duty on enforcing our contracts is a step in the right direction. What about company seal? Imagine in 2021, you still have to carry that metallic thing, and now you have to sign all those documents. How do you even carry it? We know in a country where we're talking about digital signatures. So the removal of the requirement to use, Mr. Speaker, the company seal is right in the direction in terms of ease of doing business. COVID-19 has showed us that we don't need to physically meet to pass a resolution. And therefore, our amending the Act, the Companies Act, to allow hybrid or virtual meeting to be part of statutory meetings statutory meeting in the Companies Act, Mr. Speaker, would be a step in the right direction. It has been said here that if someone owes you money in a business transaction, the easy thing to do is tell them go to court, and it's going to take 5 years for you to get that payment. So the amendment of the law to allow 60 days adjunction of, to allow a maximum of 60 days adjunction of small cases, Mr. Speaker, is a step in the right direction. Having done that as a national government, does that solve the problem that one will experience if they go to Nakuru or Molo or anywhere in this country and want to register a business? And Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, the answer is no. Because there are still these levies. There are these bureaucracies that are done by the county governments. An example, Mr. Speaker, is the issue of fire. You find that for you to register a business, you are supposed to have some fire certificates. In that license, there is a fee that you pay for fire services. And like, for example, Mr. Speaker, in Nakuru County, in Molo constituency in particular, we've had perennial fires. We've had, last week we lost a woman in a fire, a very old lady in a fire. We lost very many businesses, very many houses in fires. And yet, these registered businesses do pay in their licenses. Money are supposed to go to cushion them against these fires. So in as much as the national government may do their part, the county governments will still let us down. And maybe this is another example is the health certificate. Mr. Speaker, if you just open a small business of